track, he went upstairs during that session. Have you seen him in the room since?
Oh, no, I haven't. No, I was unaware of that. I'm afraid I was inside doing a bit of work myself, so I'm not sure what's happened there with Ryan, but yeah, I imagine it's nothing too serious.
He's obviously an important player to the team's head at Belgrave Year. What sort of blow would be if he did? What did he?
Yeah, that'd be really disappointing. Yeah. You guys probably know better. I wasn't out there for very long, but yeah, that would be hugely disappointing. But you know, yeah, I'll have to go downstairs and see what that was all about. But you know, hopefully it was nothing serious.
He has had a very good season, though, hasn't he? Obviously.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. Yeah, he's really done a lot of great jobs for us this year. And it's an absolute credit to him, given where he was at 12 months ago and the opportunity that Ross has given him this year, and he's really grabbed onto that and delivered for the majority of the year. It's been excellent.
Would you consider him the most valuable player on the team at the moment, given what he's done, tagging and that kind of?
Yeah, he's certainly up there with one of our most valuable players. Absolutely, yeah. He's been able to shut down some key midfielders throughout the season, and as I'm sure you're well aware, if you have a player that can do that, certainly holds you in good stead in the game.
What other options would you have tagging wise if he wasn't?
Yeah, not too sure really. We haven't explored that, given that he's been so strong in that role. We've got other strong mids around the area that can run like Ryan, but that's something for the match committee to consider, I guess. But hopefully he won't have to be considered because Ryan will be okay.
Pretty specialised roles at tagging. Obviously, defenders can defend, but you've got to run as well, I suppose.
Yeah, you do have to work pretty hard. Interestingly enough, Ryan did spend a bit of time in defence on the weekend, sitting down there with Deledio, so I sort of was around him a bit. So that was interesting for me to have him down there in the cage. But as a general rule, you have to work very hard. You're playing on some explosive runners that can run all day, and Ryan's certainly got those attributes.
Who's the most dangerous North Melbourne midfielder you think that Ryan might have gone to?
Oh, look, they've got a number of different players. They're the form side in the competition at the moment, clearly. But that's not my strength. That's not my area. That'll be something that the match committee will look at. But it's going to pose a huge challenge whoever he goes to.
What's at stake this week? How big a game is it for you from your club?
Yeah, it's a big game. Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, we can't hide from that. We can't shy away from that. It's an enormous game. But again, it's just another game. And we've prided ourselves on just sticking to what's in front of us. And this week it's North Melbourne, and next week it'll be Melbourne. So we just really want to focus on winning games and winning games that are right in front of us, rather than thinking too far ahead. So that's been our focus for the entire year.
They're 3 tall forwards, Petrie, Hansen and Tarrant. What sort of shape do you think the back line's in to handle those guys?
Yeah, we're confident. They're in great form, and we know they've won. I think 9 of their last 10 or something I read in the paper the other day. So they're really flying at the moment. They're going to present a huge challenge to us, but we've got a defence that have been together for much of the year, and we have every confidence that we can handle them. But no doubt it's going to take some work.
How important is Johnson, I suppose, moving from the loose role into a lockdown role when necessary?
Yeah, Johnson's to have that sort of flexibility in our side is excellent, and he's sort of been able to do both this year, play more of a sort of drop-off role and then a lockdown role as well. So, yeah, coming up against a side that is a bit taller, Johnson's going to have to, play more of a lockdown role at times and of course use his attributes of, skill and reading the play when he can. But, yeah, having that flexibility in the side is a real plus.
How's Matthew Pavlich?
Yeah, he's going well. I mean, he hasn't trained much with the team through the week, but that's been the case the last few weeks. But Pav's such a professional. He knows exactly what he needs to do to get himself up for the weekend, and I'm sure this week will be no different.
That confidence in the fact that he doesn't really miss games of free through soreness or anything. If he pings something, he's missed him in the past. He's never just sort of said, "Oh, I'm unable to get up." He seems to find a way to get on the field each week.
Yeah. Pav's a pretty strong-minded individual, and we're all very well aware of that. And we know that. Regardless of little niggles or soreness that he'll have through the week, he'll always manage to get himself up. So it'll have to be something pretty major if he weren't to play.
How much work does he put into his body to make sure it's been able to get through the years that he has?
Yeah, an enormous amount of work. He does a lot of extra work outside of the hours that he spends here, yoga and extra recovery and stuff like that. And, you'd expect that from someone of his quality. And it's a great example to the younger players as to what you have to do, the levels that you have to get to in terms of to be able to deliver on the field as he has for such a long time.
But Tendai was sort of out there for a little while. You guys not doing a hell of a lot. How's his shot?
Yeah, I think it's all right. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a handful of us that were monitored a bit closely today, but as is pretty typical this time of year, there's a few sore bodies around, and there has to be, the way you handle that has to be smart. So we're still, got a few days before the game. So, guys like Tendai and myself and Pav and Adam McPhee and just some of the older bodies were managed a bit today, but we have another hit out on Friday, and then we'll fly.
What was your issue today with not training?
Old age.
Like obviously you're focusing on the end of this season and hopefully finals, but have you thought much more about future next year, that kind of thing?
No, I'm pretty adamant that just sort of hold all that off until the end of the season as I have done in the past. So those issues will be resolved in the light of day at the end of the season.
Your form and your body tells you that you want to roll and hopefully stay here?
Yeah, well, I mean, the body's feeling as good as it has, which is always a plus. I've only missed, I think, a couple of games in the last couple of years, and they've been through suspension. So I've been very fortunate in the last few years to really feel good in myself, in my body. And it's certainly, a stark difference to how I started my career with a lot of issues.
Obviously, you wouldn't have wanted it, but that suspension a couple of weeks ago, did that help freshen you up at all?
Yeah, well, that was probably the only plus out of the whole situation. Very disappointing not to play, but as you said, it was an opportunity to freshen up a bit, and albeit still having to keep the body moving. So worked pretty closely with the fitness staff, and they kept me moving, but nothing too silly, and just allowed me to freshen up a bit physically and mentally.
What's the atmosphere like around the club at the moment, knowing that 2 games to go, real chance to get in, and a massive game? Does it feel a bit like finals atmosphere building?
I mean, as silly as this sounds, we really try and not focus too much on what ifs. Again, we just face what's presented in front of us. The confidence that we've developed over the year has been our ability to do that and just stay in the moment and focus on each game as being each game and nothing more. So, we'll play this week, we'll play next week, and the chips fall where they may.
You're also really attacking team. Your team defence, how important is that against a team that likes to throw it around a bit like they do?
Yeah, it's going to be hugely important. Yeah, so we need to, we think that the team defence has really stood up this year against some quality opposition, and hopefully it'll be no different on the weekend.
They have huge amounts of uncontested possession. Is that something that, as a defence, you kind of have to be patient to try and break down? What's your mindset with that?
I mean, we as a team defence, we really don't want that to occur. We really want to shut that down as best we can. So, that involves pressure all over the ground, the forwards working hard, chasing, harassing, the defence zoning well, and the mids doing their job. And it's very much an 18-man defence that's fairly typical of modern day football, and everyone playing their role. So if we can deliver that on Sunday, then hopefully we can remove some of that uncontested possession.
How's Jonathan Griffin feeling around the club? Obviously worked so hard, played really well through that period, and now finds himself injured and out of the team, and Ross has sort of hinted that Aaron sort of got his spot back now.
Yeah, John's been tremendous, over the period that he's been in the side, and it was always going to be a difficult one when Aaron came back. But to John's credit, he remains the same. He's a quality guy around the club, and everyone respects him and regards him very highly. But it is always going to be a difficult situation when the main ruckman comes back, the quality of Aaron Sandilands. These are some of the harder decisions that are made at football clubs.